Hi, it's your girl Weeza and welcome back to my world. And in today's video, we are going to debunk something that's been highly requested. I've gotten so many DMs about this. We are going to debunk sunscreen. Now, sunscreen is just like one of those things that we've been told to wear, but does anybody really understand it? Does anybody really know why we have to wear sunscreen and how it works? What is SPF? Like, what does it all mean? Broad spectrum, UVA, UVB, water resistant, waterproof, all of this jargon. Today, I'm going to debunk it all for you, give you a little bit of sunscreen science and a little sunscreen knowledge, help you make better choices when selecting your sunscreen. I'll also give you my top tips for picking out the sunscreen that's just perfect for you. As well, I'll touch base on one of the most kind of controversial topics in sunscreen today, the difference between physical or mineral sunscreen versus chemical sunscreens and what the differences are. Should you be using a physical or mineral sunscreen over a chemical one? I'll also go over my favorite ones, things that I've been loving for my face and all over my body, and also letting you know how to apply it, how to use it, and all of that stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you keep watching. So if you're new to my channel, hey, what's up? My name's Weeza. I do beauty and lifestyle videos here on YouTube. One really unique series on my channel is my debunk series. So this series right here where I take beauty and lifestyle trends, innovation, and products and kind of give you the facts or the science behind them so you can make better and more informed decisions. So if you like those types of videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos, as well as don't forget to hit that like button so I know that you like these types of videos. As well, I'll link all of my previous debunk videos in the description bar below so you can go ahead and check those out. So let's get started. Let's just get right on with it. Let's debunk sunscreen. So how many of you have done this when you're sunscreen shopping? You just go to the aisle and you look at all the sunscreens and there's a lot of them and you're just looking up and down and you just look for the most prettiest bottle and you see, oh, orange, grab that one. Yellow, grab the one. Oh, this one has like a dog on it. I love dogs. Grab that one. That's marketing for you. You're gonna pick the prettiest bottle and you're gonna grab that one that kind of resonates with you because, oh, you have a dog and there's a dog in the bottle. Like, I definitely need that one. Or you just pick the one that has the highest SPF in the prettiest bottle. You're like, oh, 50, 30, I'll just pick the 50 because it's higher. But that's not right. We don't actually understand what we're grabbing. Today, I hope to kind of give you a little bit more knowledge and be a little bit more mindful when you're sunscreen shopping, because it may just be that the prettiest bottle is not the best bottle for your skin type. What is sunscreen exactly? Sunscreen is also called sunblock, sunscreen, sun lotion, sun cream, whatever you call it, it's all the same stuff. So sunscreen is a topical product that we put onto the skin to help protect us from the sun's harmful UV rays, thus protecting us from things like sunburns and skin cancers. Think of sunscreen as a screen door that you kind of put in front of your window in the summertime to still let fresh air in, but block the mosquitoes from coming in. You want to block those mosquitoes because you don't want them to ruin your dinner, but there's still fresh air still coming through. So it's not completely blocking it, it's screening it. And that's exactly what sunscreen does for our skin. It's a screen door protecting us from the sun's ultraviolet rays. I also want to take the time to mention that sunscreen is not a cure to skin cancer or sunburns. It's there for you to use as a tool or a preventative measure from getting these types of things in the future. Sunscreen's main job is to block those harmful UV rays from coming onto your skin and giving you burns and skin cancer. Sunscreen does a lot more than just protect your skin from burning. It actually keeps your skin looking nice and young and cancer-free. So using sunscreen actually helps premature aging. These harmful UV rays actually cause something called photoaging or sun aging, which really take a toll on your skin and give you like a leathery, discolory, not so nice looking skin. When your skin isn't plump and juicy looking, it makes you look older than what you actually are. That's due to the breakdown of collagen. So UV rays actually break down that collagen in your skin, making you have those fine lines, wrinkles, and all of that stuff that you get when you age. Sunscreen also prevents skin cancers. So skin cancer is one of the most common cancers in the entire world. And just by applying sunscreen every day when you go outside in the sun can cut your chances of getting skin cancer in half. Yes, in half. So how does sunscreen actually work? So before I get into how sunscreen works, it's important to know that there are actually two different types of sunscreen. There's something called physical or mineral sunscreens like this, and then there's something called chemical sunscreens like this. The differences between these two are the active ingredients that are inside them. So the debate between physical or chemical sunscreen is a touchy one. It's something that's in the scientific community. It's a big uproar in terms of what's better for you and the ingredients in them and whatnot. It used to be believed and understood that chemical and physical sunscreens differed in the way that they actually protected you from the UV rays. It's now been kind of debunked that these sunscreens actually work quite similarly, and the differences in terms of how they work and what they do to UV light aren't actually that different. So I'll go over the history of kind of the sunscreens and what is commonly known, because a lot of really common and go-to resources still spread this information today. Physical sunscreen, or mineral sunscreen as we commonly know it as, contain naturally occurring ingredients that are found in nature naturally. Things like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Physical sunscreens work to actually reflect UV light so it never actually hits your skin. So think of having a million tiny little mirrors reflecting off UV lights from all of your body, not allowing it to even penetrate your skin to begin with. So physical sunscreen physically just sits on your skin and reflects away the UV rays like mirrors, bouncing them off in any which direction just to get it away from you. Chemical sunscreen contain active ingredients like avobenzene and oxybenzone. Chemical sunscreen actually absorbs into your skin and therefore absorbs UV light. So just think of a sponge soaking up and absorbing all of those UV rays. Then by a chemical reaction, yes, a chemical reaction, the sunscreen gets converted into heat and gets dissipated off your skin and out into the environment, which we don't even feel leaves our body anyways. So it used to be believed that both physical and chemical sunscreens differed in the way that they actually worked. It turns out that they both absorb UV rays pretty similarly and dissipate them as heat. So they're pretty equal in my opinion, and I don't see it different in terms of how they work. This one does reflect light in certain ways just due to the nature of those naturally occurring enzymes, but about 95% of this product is working exactly the same as this, and in my book, it's pretty much the same. Me personally, I like a chemical sunscreen. I find it lighter on the skin and it just wears better for me. It's interesting because I have sensitive to dry skin, and a lot of people mention that the physical sunscreens are better for you because it contains less irritants and just better for sensitive skin types. But I've never had any problems with any of the chemical sunscreens that I've used. When I was a little kid, my mom used to douse me head to toe in chemical sunscreens and it just worked for me and my unique skin type, but everybody's different. Mineral sunscreens are also known to be very thick. If you've ever put on a mineral sunscreen, it's very thick and you have to like get your back into it and you're just like working it, and it tends to leave a white cast, which I absolutely hate. This is honestly one of my biggest deterrents from the mineral sunscreens. It's just so thick. I just feel like I'm suffocating, like I can't breathe, and then that white cast, like I want to be tan, I don't want to be a ghost. As long as the product that I'm using is working and it's not causing any huge detriments to my health or well-being, then hey, I'm good to go. Okay, cool. So Weeza, you told us how sunscreen works. Now, what does this whole talk about UV and UV rays and like just what does it mean? So UV stands for ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is a type of electromagnetic radiation that comes from the sun and it travels in wavelengths. These wavelengths are shorter than what we can see with the naked eye, so we actually don't see UV light. So it's important to know that there's 3 different types of UV rays: UVA, UVB, and yes, UVC. So all 3 types of UV radiation have the ability to damage the skin, but each one works on the skin differently. UVA is the longest out of the 3 wavelengths, and it accounts for about 95% of the radiation that comes from the sun to the earth. UVA rays have the ability of penetrating into the second layer of skin, thus giving us effects to aging. So when you think of UVA, think aging. UVA, aging. UVB is the mid-size wavelength between the 3 types, and it accounts for about 5% of the radiation that comes from the sun to the earth. UVB damages the top layer of skin, contributing to sunburns, physically damaging our skin's DNA and exposing you to potential risks of skin cancer. So when you get sunburn, it's the UVB rays that are responsible for that sunburn. So when you think of UVB, think burning. UVB, burning. So UVC is the shortest of the 3 wavelengths, but it actually never makes it down to earth, so we're not actually exposed to it. The wonderful thing called the ozone filters it out for us. This is an issue because, hey, the ozone is depleting, so we're losing that filtration. But for now, we're still getting filtration by the ozone, and we don't have to worry about UVC rays and sunscreen and all of that jazz as of right now. So it's super important that when we're looking for a sunscreen to find something labeled broad spectrum. Broad spectrum simply means that it's able to protect you not only from UVA, but also UVB rays, giving you the protection that you need to keeping your skin looking young, sunburn-less, cancer-free, and just beautiful. One last thing to mention about UV is that we actually have something called a UV index. The UV index is something that was created to protect you from the sun's damaging UV rays. So the higher the UV index, the stronger the sun's rays, and the more need for sun protection and sunscreen. The UV index ranges anywhere from 0 to 11 plus. UV index for your particular region varies depending on where you live, the season, and the time. So the UV index tends to be the strongest during 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is like smack right middle in the day. So you have to practice extra sun protection measures during this time frame to make sure that you don't get burned. General rule is a UV index of 3 or higher requires you to wear sunscreen, and as the index gets higher and higher, proper measures need to be adjusted accordingly to cater to that index number. So I'll pop up a little grid of all of the UV numbers here. So you can see anything from 3 to 5 is moderate, 6 to 7 is high, 8 to 10 is very high, and anything above 11 or more is extreme. You can generally find your UV index just on your local weather, so next time you're checking the weather, check the UV index. This sunscreen has an SPF of 50. This spray sunscreen has an SPF of 50. This sunscreen has an SPF of 60, and this has an SPF of 45. What does it all mean, Weeza? So this is probably one of the most asked questions. Weeza, what is SPF and what does it all mean? SPF stands for sun protection factor. It's a measure of how much UV gets through to your skin, in particular UVB rays. It's pretty much an indicator to give you how much time it will take for those UV rays to give you a burn. So the higher the SPF number, the less UV that can actually get through to your skin. For example, take an SPF of 30. So an SPF of 30 will allow 1/30% or 3.33% of UV to reach your skin. That means that an SPF of 30 is actually filtering or screening 96.7% of those UV rays and prevent you from burning. Similarly, an SPF of 50 will allow 1/50% or 2% of UV to get into your skin, thus filtering 98% of UV rays from getting onto your skin. So the SPF of 30 versus an SPF of 50 may seem huge in terms of the differences, but when you look at it and you do the math, it's actually only a 1.3% difference of UV light filtration that actually reaches your skin. Differences are not that large. If you're still confused on how SPF actually works, let's try a different example. It takes about 10 minutes for an average person to start showing signs of burning without any sort of protection on. Say now that you apply an SPF 30, the SPF 30 will now slow the rate of burning down 30 times. So if it takes an average person 10 minutes to start seeing the signs of burning and you applied an SPF of 30, 10 minutes times an SPF of 30 will give you 300 minutes of sun exposure before you start feeling the signs of burning. So the SPF 30 actually elongated your exposure time and prevented you from getting burned by 30 times. Same thing happens if you were to apply an SPF of 15. It would be 10 minutes times an SPF of 15, giving you 150 minutes. Same with an SPF of 50, 10 minutes times 50, giving you 500 minutes. Now, we're talking perfect world scenarios. So this is like you applying it and just standing there and not moving. That's unrealistic. That doesn't happen. And 500 minutes is like over 8 hours. No way. Your body sweats, your body evaporates water, you move around, you just do your day-to-day life things, and that sunscreen is gonna come off. To keep up with it and prevent burning altogether, it's recommended that you apply sunscreen every 2 hours. Something that I personally love doing is carrying a spray with me, so I know in my 2 hours or I start feeling a little red, I just go there and I spray this Neutrogena spray. Gives your skin like a glow, so it looks like you're wearing a highlighter, and I look like I'm just glowing from within, and like you're like sweaty but you're not sweaty, you know what I mean? Like it gives you that glow. Okay, so Weeza, how much sunscreen do I actually need to put on? So it's recommended that you put a shot glass full on your entire body. Another secret that I've been using is a teaspoon on each limb and 2 teaspoons on your midsection. So 1 teaspoon per arm, 1 teaspoon per leg, and then 1 teaspoon for your chest area and 1 teaspoon for your abdomen area. It should average out to about a shot glass full of sunscreen. For your face, you should be using 1 teaspoon of sunscreen. I also use a method called the 3-finger method, where I grab my sunscreen and I put it on my finger and I run lines up my 3 middle fingers, and that should be equivalent to a teaspoon, because in the mornings when I'm doing my makeup and whatnot, I don't want to have like a teaspoon out and be filling it. Like I don't have time for that. So I've adopted this 3-finger method. I apply it just after my moisturizer, let it soak in. So I do moisturizer, sunscreen, primer, foundation, CC cream, BB cream, whatever I decide to wear that day. So now I'm going to give you my tips to help you pick out the best sunscreen for you. Picking sunscreen ultimately depends on you and your unique skin type, your skin color, your skin type, and what you kind of want to get out of your sunscreen. For me, I'll use myself as an example. I have dry, sensitive skin. I burn very easily. I'm white like a ghost. Hello, tan from a bottle. That's how I do it. I need the sunscreen or I will be red like a tomato. So if you're a darker skin color, then you won't need to apply sunscreen as regularly as someone who's white like myself. This is due to darker skin tones having more melanin inside. So melanin is like a natural sunscreen. It's like the natural sunscreen that we have to defend from UV rays. The darker skin tone that you are, the more melanin you have in your skin, therefore the more natural UV protection you have. If you have sensitive skin, it is recommended for you to go with a physical sunscreen simply because it doesn't have any heavy chemicals or irritants in it. I'm about this because I have sensitive skin and I use a chemical sunscreen, always have. It never had any effects on me, so none of the irritants actually in sunscreen affect my skin type, but your skin, it might, so just keep that in mind. Physical sunscreens can really affect how your makeup lays after. So I find that chemical sunscreens, especially for the face, are my go-to. Chemical sunscreen are just nice and thin. They wear nice. They feel lightweight on the skin. They rub nicely into the skin and just so beautifully, where that mineral sunscreen will take time to work in and just be thick, gunky, and kind of ruin your next makeup layers from sitting well on your skin. Next, you want to look for something that says broad spectrum. Like I mentioned before, you want to find something that fights not only UVA rays, but UVB rays. You want to fight the aging and burning. So this particular sunscreen is broad spectrum, as well as this one and this one. All of the sunscreens that I have are broad spectrum, so that is a #1 requirement for me. I physically will not purchase a sunscreen if it's not broad spectrum. Next, you want to look for an SPF of 30 or higher. 30 is a great cutoff. 15 is great if you have a darker skin tone and you have that melanin to kind of help back you up. But I think SPF 30 is just a great universal number. Anything higher is just a bonus for me. And the last criteria is to find a sunscreen that is water resistant or waterproof. Even if I'm not going swimming or to the beach or whatnot, I still want something that will resist water or sweat on your body. So sweat is mostly water, so your body naturally sweats through the day. You have oils that come onto your skin as well to protect your skin. All of this is factors that interfere with your protection and your sunscreen. So by having that water resistance for 50 minutes, 80 minutes, whatever it may be, it helps kind of maximize your sunscreen wearing time and just make sure it stays put for the amount of time that it says it does. I quickly just wanted to show you what my personal recommendations are for sunscreen that I'm loving right now. So I think that Neutrogena does a great job with sunscreens, and their formulations are great that they don't break out my skin or I have any issues with them. So Neutrogena, she's a win. In particularly the Ultra Sheer line. So I have 2 of the Ultra Sheers here. So this is the Ultra Sheer Dry Touch Sunscreen. It's an SPF 45. It's broad spectrum UVA, UVB, sweat and water resistant up to 80 minutes. Ultra lightweight and non-greasy. Amazing for the body. I love her. And for the face, I also use a Neutrogena product, the Ultra Sheer line. What the main difference is between the body screen and this one is that it's more non-comedogenic. It won't clog your pores and it's oil-free. It's lighter weight as well. If you were to compare the two, the body one is a little bit more thick and this one's a little bit more liquidy, so it absorbs into the skin more fast. I also purchased the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Mist. This is the face mist. I do spray it on like my neck area and décolleté area to give that little glow. She's also broad spectrum, sweat and water resistance up to 40 minutes. And it's something new that I've been trying and I really liked it. And it's a good size to kind of keep in my bag. It's not too big and clunky, so just squirt, squirt, squirt and on with my day. Just the thing with all Neutrogena products, they do them so well. They're dermatologist recommended. I don't break out and they absorb so nice in the skin. These are chemical sunscreens, so keep that in mind. Neutrogena also just came out with a physical sunscreen line called Ultra Zinc, which obviously has zinc oxide in it. Give it a try. I've yet to try it. Like I said, I just love chemical sunscreens because they're lightweight, they work well, and I've never had an issue. But I do have a mineral option as well. So this one is Copper Tones Baby Pure and Simple. This is a baby formulation. When I have an option to get baby formulations, I do, just because it's more delicate for a sensitive skin type. So this one has zinc oxide in it. It's a mineral sunscreen. It's not as thick, which I really liked, and that's why I'm kind of trialing it out. I would never use this on my face, but I've been using it on my body here and there, testing it out. I like it. It works well. SPF 50, broad spectrum, so UVA, UVB, water resistant for 80 minutes. So it has checked all the boxes that I have to buy sunscreen. So I thought, hey, let's try her. Will I repurchase? Maybe. Do I love the Neutrogena more? Yes. So that's just my personal opinion. If you prefer a physical sunscreen, give this one a try. I like it. It's lightweight and it's not thick like those other mineral sunscreens, so I think that you might really enjoy it for the body. So I hope that you learned something new about sunscreen today and that you can make more informed and better decisions when purchasing sunscreen in the future, and you're not going to be so overwhelmed by all the packaging and those labels and what this all means. Make sure you look out for those big 3 factors that I mentioned: broad spectrum, water resistant, waterproof, and an SPF of 30. These 3 things could really help elevate your sunscreen game. So let's get this conversation rolling. I would love to know if you prefer a physical over a chemical sunscreen or vice versa, and why. Which brands do you use? I would love to try some new sunscreens as well. I also plan on doing another video on sunscreen. This is by no means done. We've only scratched the surface on sunscreen and debunking it. This is such a complex topic that there will be so much more to it. So I'm so excited to continue this series in the future, so be on the lookout for that. And with that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on my next one. See ya!